Heyo, guys, it's me, your math teacher, drinking some coffee. Just like I'm pretending it's school, honestly. God can't do work without my coffee. Um, Now, if I hope you guys are checking out the resources that I put into the folder. These are to go along with that. I would recommend watching these before the try it's with the Learn It section. The links go to my YouTube channel. You should be able to watch them on YouTube. Ooh, that's good. All right. So, now as you can tell by this sheet over to my right, we're going to be looking at the length of an arc. All right, so I'm going to slide over to the visualizer. Now, before we get to the formula, I know we talked about measures of arcs before in the last module, and we were talking about them in terms of their rotation. Today, what we're actually going to be measuring is a length. That's why I used a little L here. The length of an arc tells us not the distance we rotate, but the actual length of this portion. It'll tell us if we had a piece of string, how much string we would have to place to cover that arc section. Now, if you haven't looked at the resources yet, that's fine. The formula we use for length of an arc is 2 pi times r, and r is the radius, times the central angle from last class. And I know in the try it section they use theta for this, just to save it so you don't have to write out central angle every time. But if you're not used to using Greek letters, I think it's more helpful to actually write out central angle here. Now, the central angle is the same thing we used last class. It is an angle that is based off the center of a circle. And that's divided by 360. So we only need to know two things. You need to know the radius, and you need to know the central angle to calculate this portion of our circumference. Now, if you guys didn't realize, this portion right here actually is the formula for circumference of a circle. We're just going to be multiplying it by some angles. So here is a little diagram below so you guys can see. Here is the actual arc length. I'm going to label that L. Here is our radius. And right here is our central angle. I'm going to abbreviate that CA for right now, just so you guys have it for future reference. We're also going to be using that for other videos here. So let's actually try one. Let's do one, right? I'm going to draw this out. I think we got some space right below it. Oh, wow. Check out that circle. First try, baby. Can't beat that. All right. So let's go right here. And we're going to do like this. We're going to say this is 200 degrees for that central angle. And we're going to say our radius is 5 centimeters for our metric friends. So our goal is to find this arc length here, right? And remember, we annotate arc length. Let's come up with, actually write out the name of this one. Let's call this BST. So if we wanted to find the length of BST, right, along this side, this is going to be given by 2 times pi times our radius, which I'm just going to write in as blank. We'll fill that in, times blank over 360, right? So what I want you guys to try and do is see if we can determine, well, what is our R and what is our central angle, right? Because those are the only two things we need to know. Here, pretty easy. R is 5, and our central angle is 200. So I'm going to substitute that in 5, 200. Now, I know some of us are a little bit more familiar with pi than others. But if you don't remember, or if you don't have a nice calculator for pi, you can just use 3.14. Right? That's the approximation of pi. We'll maybe do a video that gets a little bit more into depth as to what pi is, since we didn't get to celebrate Pi Day together. Sad. Kind of going through the work we need to do for that. So, I've had some requests from our last video to do the calculations for this on an iPhone, because not everyone has a calculator. So, let's have at it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this section here, right? So, I'm going to bring up my iPhone. Oh, look, I got some notifications. Calculator. Look, I've been doing some calculations at home. So I'm going to do 2 times 3.14 times 5. I did all three of those in one step. This is 31.4. And I'm going to double check it just to be sure. 2 times 3.14 times 5. Boom. We got it. This we're going to multiply. And now I'm going to do this calculation in the calculator. 200 divided by, oh, let's clear that out. 200 divided by 360. That gives me 0.5 repeating. Now I'm going to go 3 decimal places. And then I obviously round up, because if I go to the third, we look at the fourth. 5 and above, give it a shove. Very aggressive for decimals. We got that there. Now, we can just multiply these two. 31.4 times 0.556, which would give us BST is equal to 17.4. Now, I'm going to just go round to the 100th so we can practice rounding. I look at the 8th, or the third decimal place to round the 4th. And this is 6. Boom. 5 and above, give it a shove. So we know our arc length, this arc length here, is 17.46, and our units is centimeters, since we're talking about a length. You guys can see that this is a pretty straightforward example. It's really not that difficult to work through. So watch these videos, and then try the try it section. See if you can get it. If you have questions, make sure you shoot a message to your teacher or shoot a message to me. I hope you guys are doing great. Stay safe. Stay home. Maybe play some video games. I hope you guys are going to your Google Meets with your teachers, especially me. I got to see some of you this morning, and I was stoked. But anyway, have a great day. Hasta la vista, guys. Keep on keeping on. Hope to see you guys later.